Hi, it's Lee from ColouringQueen.net, and today I've got my set of 4 mini mandalas. You can download these from my coffee store for free, and today I'm going to colour one of these mini mandalas in the fastest colouring page that I have ever done. That's right, I'm going to cheat. I'm taking a plastic Ziploc bag over my little mandala that I have already copied onto watercolour paper. It's just the Kmart brand, Cheap and Cheerful. And speaking of cheap and cheerful, I've got the Crayola markers, and what I'm doing is using the bag as a guide for how big the picture is. Because it's see-through, I can see how big the guide is, so I can just scribble a bit of marker along this. And this wasn't my idea, I found it on YouTube and now I can't remember where, but I remember seeing this a while back, so I did want to try it. So on the top here, I'm just going to add in some blue and maybe do like a galaxy effect. I've got the Crayola markers in the brights, but they're also available in the classic. And really, you can use any sort of marker that you want. Just give it a practice first. So the idea of the plastic bag is I can see what the picture looks like below. So if I wanted to add a different colour or whatnot to actually reflect on the picture, I can gauge it from looking through on the bag. So I want to finish up with this sort of tealy green here on the end, and then down below where we've still got some petals and whatnot, I'm going to add in some blue and just, scribble along. It's so easy to do this. You just need to make sure your plastic bag is as big as your picture. So if I was doing a large picture, which I will be doing next week with some different techniques on it, like from a colouring book, then I would use one of the larger size bags, or you could use the smaller size bags and just move them around a little bit, but you might make a mess. So now I'm just going to spray this with a little water spray that I've got. The more water that you add, the more diluted it will be. So if you want really strong colours, you can either do it again or just use less water. So face down where the image is, I'm just going to dip it into those scribbled and wet colours and give it a smush with my fingers. We can see it smushing up the side. If I get too many, I can always blot it up with a paper towel or one of those magic erasers for watercolour that picks up the watercolour. Now it does tend to stain your fingers, but after I washed them a few times the stain was gone from my fingers. So we've got quite a lot of liquid here, and it reminds me of the old-fashioned paper marbling that we used to do at school. And because I've still got some of this ink here on the plastic, I am just going to make the most of it and add a bit more, and smush it in wherever I want. So now the fun part is, while that's drying, I'm going to get a cup of coffee. And just in here with the paper towel for any bits that are too much. If you want to take colour off, now is the time to do it before it dries. Now if this was a big page, I would have taped it down to a board, but because it's only a little small piece, I've just left it loose and I can flatten it with a book. Now it's already dried, so I've decided I want more colour, and so I can just, as long as it's dry, I can just do the same thing with the paper bag. And even if I don't want colour all over it, I can just choose where I want the colour. So here I definitely want some more pink, I've decided, because it looked quite pale once it was dry. But I think I want some more blue, and I don't want it everywhere. I don't want to redo the whole thing, I don't think, at this stage. I just want a bit more. Now if I'd added less water to start with, maybe I wouldn't need to do this, but I'm just having fun and I wanted to show you that you can do it multiple times as well, as long as your paper is strong enough and it can dry. Now I know some of you might thinking, does this work with colouring book pages, and they're not watercolour, bear that in mind. So if we do that, which, spoiler alert, we're going to, I really want to see what this looks like, then we would have to probably just do one with hardly any water so that it doesn't buckle the page too much. So I've added less water on this one, and again I'm just going to squish my little bit of card into this plastic bag. Now if you do these little images like this, they make great gift tags, great little cards. You could put them in a photo frame. You could do all sorts of things with all of these different little, like, tie-dyed cute backgrounds, easy backgrounds, whatever you want. Like, you could frame it, you could do anything really with it. So what I thought that I would do is, we're going to wait for this to dry and maybe blot up some of those where there's a few little tide lines forming, but I've got that more pink, which is good. And there's heaps more that we can do with this. We could cut it up, we could, yeah, I think I'm going to add a little bit more colour to the edges there and just blot it out a little bit more. But there's so much we could do. We could cut it into bookmarks, we could leave it as it is, put it in a photo frame, put it in a card. We could just do so much with just this technique. Now the reason that I'm doing this on a colouring book page is because the popular Instagram tag right now, which is the galaxy white lines, where you do a galaxy style background with watercolors and then you go over it with white lines. Now please forgive me, my dog is sitting behind me, so I'm super uncomfortable. I can't move him, and I also can't move my head because the camera and the light is above me, so I'm really constricted. And my white with the gel pens is, oh, and also I'm blind as a bat, you know, so my white lines are going to look absolutely shocking because of the camera, and I'm trying to get away from it. But if you're doing these white lines and you don't have a camera about to fall on your head and you're trying to get your hair out of or your head out of the shot, you will do just fine. So all I'm doing is going around these edges once it's dry with my Arteza white gel pen, and these are great. They come in a number of different sizes. They're the best gel pens I've ever bought. The others are all sitting there lonely in their basket because they don't get any love anymore, because these are the best. But unfortunately, even they don't help people that can't move their head because of a camera about to fall on them. So you get the point of what I'm trying to do here, and please ignore the little bits that I've missed for the reasons I've already said. But this is the way that you can really quickly create those galaxies with a light white line. So that's it from me. This is my finished, very wonky final product. And until next time, or till next week when I come back and we do this with a colouring book, stay safe and happy colouring.